Hello. In this video, we're going to review Chapter 2. Hopefully you finished all the activities in Chapter 2 and now you're preparing to take the test. In this video, we're going to review some of the skills we learned in this chapter and take a look at a few of the examples from the chapter to see how we can apply these skills in real life. And hopefully this will prepare you for the chapter test. All right, so let's take a look from page 80. We have the summary of the chapter from the textbook. And I agree with a lot of this and I'm going to add to it. We'll go through the points. The point number one, recognizing the main idea is the most important key to good comprehension. That is 100% true. When you're reading, especially when you're reading college texts, they have a lot of high-level vocabulary, very complicated grammar, and you may not understand everything that is happening in the text. But if you can understand the main idea, at least, then you can still do pretty well in your college classes, understanding lectures and preparing for tests, even if you don't understand every detail. So very, very important to recognize the main idea. Point number two. These are 3 strategies to help you find the main idea. It says number 1, look for the general versus specific idea, and that is true, but I think number 2 is what you should do first. First, identify the topic, and then look for the most general sentence. You can use keywords, and what your book doesn't tell you is the type of the keywords, the division words or opinion words. And we're going to go into that in a little bit. Now, the main idea often appears at the beginning of the paragraph, though it may appear elsewhere in a paragraph. And this is going to be important for the test. I made sure to choose a variety of sentences. Oftentimes, the sentence is at the beginning, usually the first or second sentence. But you're going to see on the test paragraphs where you'll have to identify the main idea. It could be in the middle, or it could be in the end as well. So that's an overview of the chapter. Now we're going to look into a little bit more detail about topic sentences. This is something I go into a lot of detail in composition class. And this is in composition class, this is a good guide for how to write topic sentences or thesis statements in essays. But, writing and reading are connected. And so we can also use this to help us when reading and recognizing main ideas. Now, before we start, I want to add that this is not foolproof. This is not 100% of the time. You're going to see the majority of the topic sentences fall into one of these 2 categories of division or opinion, but not all of them do. So the topic and the controlling idea are the key parts for a topic sentence. The topic is usually a noun phrase. It should be pretty easy to identify. Then the controlling idea. This is the key. The controlling idea is the most important thing to look for when identifying the main idea sentence. Now, there are 2 types of controlling idea, division and opinion. Let's take a look at division first. In a division controlling idea, you're going to have a plural noun. That's going to be something like ways, types, steps, differences, reasons. These are all different examples. And then the supporting detail describes, I say here each, I forgot the quotation, that's okay. Each part. So, the major details in this paragraph are going to be way number 1, way number 2, way number 3, same thing, type number 1, type number 2, type number 3, step 1, 2, 3, and so on. It goes through the others. These are just examples. These are not all the different ways. It could really be pretty much, I can think most plural nouns, right? So if you see a sentence and you see a plural noun like ways, and then you look through the details and they're saying words like first way, second way, third way, and so forth, that's an indication that you have the correct topic sentence. And then in the other type of controlling idea is an opinion. In the most basic terms, the opinion labels the topic as being either good or bad. Now with the opinion, there's a few different ways that we can express that. One is through adjectives. That's probably the most common. We see some examples here. Great, terrible, beneficial, and effective. You have some good ones like great and beneficial, or some bad ones like terrible and ineffective. Another way is with modals. The most common one is should, the most obvious one. When you use the word should, you are making a recommendation. So if you say should, it means that you think it's a good idea. If you say should not, you think it's a bad idea. Other words that can be used less commonly are must and need to. And then the third way is through connotation. We talked about connotation in the vocabulary section. Connotation, we have it doesn't have to be an adjective basically. We have words that through their meaning or how they're used, how people understand them, usually has some positive feeling or negative feeling. Here are a couple examples. Like understanding. If you're understanding something, we think that's a good thing, right? You want to understand the world around us. And ignorance is when you don't know something, that's something bad. Satisfaction, you're feeling good. Versus depression is a deep feeling of significant sadness. That is something that is bad. And then in the supporting details of this type of paragraph are going to explain why or how your opinion is correct, why the topic is good or why the topic is bad. All right, so again, these two types of controlling ideas don't describe every single topic sentence, and we're going to look at least one example that doesn't have that, but it does cover the majority. Okay, let's take a look now at some examples from the text. We're going to start with practice 5, questions 3 and 4. We have first up here, it looks like number 3. Now, in number 3, the main point is letter B. When faced with a disagreement, parties involved have several ways to proceed. The topic here is facing a disagreement, and then the controlling idea is several ways. This is a division style controlling idea. And then the details are going to describe way 1, way 2, way 3, and that's what letters A, C, and D do. They describe different ways to proceed when there is a disagreement. Okay, next let's take a look at number 4. In number 4, the main point is D. The topic of number 4 is prohibition, and the controlling idea is illegal activity. This is an example of an opinion controlling idea. The key word in this controlling idea is the word illegal, against the law. Generally, this is considered something that is bad. So basically, this paragraph is explaining, telling us why prohibition is illegal. And we have A, B, and C, 3 reasons that show us why prohibition was bad. All right, next question. Still practice 5. Now we're going to go to question 1. I'm doing this a little bit out of order because question number 1, the main point is D, and question number 1 shows us that we actually can have both. We can have division and opinion. We have consequences. This is a division word. Okay, so in this paragraph, we're going to talk about different consequences, but also we have opinion, and you can have both. The minimum requirement for a topic sentence is one or the other, but in this case, you have both. Negative, of course, being something that is very bad. So you're going to have a few questions on the test that are similar to this. They're not going to be in paragraph form. It's going to be 4 sentences, and you have to choose the one that is the main idea. Now let's take a look at some other practices where we're going to look at whole paragraphs. We're going to start with practice 7. Now, for these examples, you see I've just pulled out the topic sentence, the main idea for each of these paragraphs. In practice 7, we're going to start with paragraph number 2. Paragraph number 2, the topic sentence is number 1. The Great Wall of China is a truly remarkable creation. The topic in this paragraph is the Great Wall of China, and the controlling idea is a truly remarkable creation. The key word here is remarkable. It's an adjective. It describes creation, and remarkable is something that is very good. So in other words, we're saying that the Great Wall of China is this great thing, a wonderful creation, something positive. And then the supporting details in this paragraph explain why the Great Wall of China is remarkable. The next paragraph is from paragraph number 4. The topic sentence in this one is number 2. Cardiovascular disease is actually a group of disorders. And here we have the topic is cardiovascular disease, and the controlling idea is group of disorders. Here is an example of a plural noun, disorders. And then the supporting details in this paragraph, if you go back in the textbook and reread it, describe the different disorders. Disorder 1, disorder 2, disorder 3. So there we have two examples of opinion and division. Paragraph number 2 being that of opinion, and paragraph number 4 being that of division. Next, we're going to look at one that is the exception, that doesn't have a clear opinion or division controlling idea, but is still the main point. This is from paragraph number 3. The topic sentence is number 1, and it says, at the beginning of the 20th century, families often hired older women known as chaperones to keep watch over their daughters. So in this one, it's just basically the topic. It's a little bit more difficult than the other ones. There's definitely going to be some questions on the test that will not have a clear division or opinion word. But in this one, we want to look at the first step of identifying main ideas, and it's to identify the topic, which is like chaperone, and to look for the most general sentence. This is the most general sentence. And while there's not a clear division word in the sentence, this paragraph is a division type paragraph. The supporting details in this paragraph describe the different things that the chaperones do and what is their job, basically. What did families hire them to do? Even though there's not a clear division word, this is still the topic sentence for paragraph number 3. So watch out for those. So that is practice 7. Now we're going to have one more practice we're going to look at. This comes at the request of someone from the class. I want to look first at practice 8, number 2. If you want to follow along in your book, that's on page 75. Yeah, 75. All right, practice 2. I want to look at this one because we have an example of a topic sentence that's not right at the beginning of the paragraph. Here we have it a little bit in the middle. The topic sentence in number 2 is sentence number 3. It says, but the reptile's way of fighting is generally more civilized and humane than humans. The topic in this sentence is way of fighting, and the controlling idea is more civilized and humane than the humans. In this case, we have the word civilized from the word civilization, and humane means like treating people well. So these are both positive words, and basically what we're saying, or excuse say, basically what the author is saying is that this reptile's way of fighting is better than how humans fight. And then the supporting details here, sentences 4 through 10, describe, or I should say, explain why reptile's way of fighting is better than humans. All right, last paragraph, and this is at the request of one of the students in the class. I'm glad this was asked because this is a very difficult paragraph. We have a lot of sentences that use a lot of connotative words. There's a lot of positive and negative in the sentence, mostly negative. We're talking about how sugar is bad for our health. So it could be really tough. In this case, you do still want to look for the most general sentence. We have here, this paragraph is structured, we have a number of introductory details. Sentences 1 to 4 are all introductions. Sentences 1 to 4 are all introductions. In sentences 1 to 4, it's giving the reader some background information about this topic. And then we go into the supporting details. That's basically questions 5 to 13, describing the problems of sugar. And then the main idea is sentence number 14. If we're truly concerned about the future of our increasingly obese, unhealthy society, eliminating sodas from our diet is a good place to start. This is not a clear topic sentence. It sounds like a recommendation, like a conclusion sentence. But if you study composition, you know that the topic sentence and the conclusion sentence are oftentimes very similar. The topic sentence tells the reader what you're going to write about, and the conclusion sentence tells the reader what you wrote about. It's a summary of the main point. So I would say if the topic sentence is not at the beginning of the sentence, the second most common place is going to be the end of the sentence, like in this question, and then the least common place is going to be in the middle. But there's going to be questions on the test that are going to be all of them. Like some of the questions on the test will have the sentence at the beginning. Some of them will be at the end, and some of them will be in the middle. And the topic of this paragraph is soda. See, all the details is talking about soda. Soda, 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 soda. except for the introductory is talking a little bit about like fat and sugar. But the majority of the details are about soda. So we want to be looking for that as our topic. And then our controlling idea is increasingly obese, unhealthy society. These are all negative things, and the supporting details of this paragraph explains why sodas are bad. Okay, in conclusion, when you take the test, throughout the entire test is basically identify the main point of either a group of sentences or a paragraph. As you're doing that, go through these steps in order. I recommend in order. Identify the topic. Look for the most general sentence. Look for division or opinion words. And look at the beginning. Usually, but not always, it's going to be the first and second sentence. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. If you haven't done them yet, go ahead and take a look at the review tests. Those are good practice for the final test. The final test I broke into two parts because I understand with paragraphs, it's a lot to read and it's going to take you some time to do that. And if I just made it one part, then making one wrong is going to have a pretty bad effect on your total average. So part 1 and part 2 are each worth 50% of the total. After you've taken both, I'll add them up to get your complete score. So good luck on your test.